Hi everyone, my name is Harry Kusrianto, the president and co-founder of Interfaith Study and Community Development Association in associate with Philadelphia Roundtable. So in this program, we're going to talk about the issue of human race and different color. So this will be part 3. So I encourage you to watch part 1 and part 2. So joining with me is Brother Amir Mekel. He is the president of National Record Incorporated. He is radio host and he's running the Philadelphia chapter for the Missing Page History non-profit organization down in Virginia. So I guess, Brother Amir, last time when we discussed our program, you've been talking about the issue of human race and different color, looking at from the historical, social, and political perspective. Now, in this program, can you explain more about the history, the origin, and the evolution of human race from biological or genetic standpoint?
Okay. Well, we've discussed the origin of the human race, and as far as the scientists have discovered, the oldest bones were found in Kenya, East Africa. And throughout the research, and coming from various parts of the world, Asia, North America, Western Europe, etc., that's been confirmed that all people come from these original human beings. And as they traveled around the globe, they've left their artwork, their bones, their tools, and a legacy of what they had accomplished. However, most of that has been covered over in time and is just being rediscovered in the last 50, 60 years. So we have found through Van Sertima that there was an African presence in South, Central, and North America, and there are artifacts that show that. At the same time, we do recognize that all human beings do need certain things just to survive and to thrive, which are the basic things: clean air, clean food, clean water, clothing, shelter, and hopefully an education that'll make them the best that they can be.
All right. Can you explain about the, the phenomena about the genetic variation, genetic mutation? We have the case in many regions and in many parts of the world where the black couple, they can produce the white baby, or
We've seen, and there are plenty of examples here in North America also, of dark-skinned people or black people having fair-skinned, light-haired children. Generally, these are called albinos. And what happens is that in the genetics of the parents, there is an error in the sense that the coloration is not continued. And what you have is a person who was born literally with very little color in their hair, skin, and eyes. With many of these children, there is a visual problem because of that lack of protection in the pupil area. So that where generally people of African descent have dark brown or brown eyes, these children will have gray or light tan or very light eyes, and their skins will be pretty much the same complexion as a European. So that leads to my conclusion that there is some element of albinism that led to the lighter complexions of people around the world, whether in Asia or whether in Northern Europe. And that's a very small percentage of the population. Planetarily, it's maybe 10% of the human population are these people of fair hair and fair skins and light eyes, blue, green, gray.
all right. So with that being said, that we have the case a black parent can produce a white baby with caused by the lack of skin pigmentation. So in on vice versa, we don't see the case that a white couple producing a black kids. So what is that significantly mean?
Um,
As a,
well, that's again dealing with what Mendel studied I think the last time Brother Sharif was here, and he spoke a little bit more eloquently on that subject. But there was research done maybe in the 1600s, 1700s, I'm not sure, dealing with plant populations, and it was observed and discovered that there are recessive and dominant genes. And the dominant genes generally are the gene for dark pigmentation and dark colored eyes. So what happens is that in a recessive person for pigmentation, the lack of color is what you have. This lack of color really doesn't occur except for this genetic error. We rarely, well, we haven't seen in any case of two recessive gene persons producing a dominant gene offspring. And this is concerning all recessive and dominant genes, and in this case specifically the coloration and hair texture. So in the United States for many, many years, since the days of slavery, a person was categorized according to the amount of this dominant African blood that was in their system. There were terms such as mulatto, which is based on a Latin or Spanish term, something like a mule, where there are two different types of people who are made an offspring. In the case of the animal kingdom, the mule is incapable of reproducing, whereas the horse and the donkey, each amongst themselves, are capable of reproducing or reproducing with each other. With the human species, there's no problem with the production of human beings from other human beings because it's really the same group. We're just talking about certain genetic traits, and these traits will also show up in terms of color, build, whether you're tall, thin, heavy set, long legs, short legs, etc. So this is all called your phenotype, and it gives you the appearance, and this appearance is drawn from your parents, approximately 50% from each parent.
All right. So in last program, you mentioned in your research study, you've been done a lot of study and in your point of view, you stated that, or the evidence suggested that the first human race was black. So our human ancestor was a black color and dark skin, and the biblical Hebrew also, as the evidence suggested, was a dark skin, a black color. So in that case, what do you think was the cause and the factor for causing the different race, splitting different race, and the evolution of different race?
Well, as we were discussing with genetic variation, every now and then you're going to get from a dark-skinned parents a pale or light-skinned child, and this is just variation. The scientists have put forth the theory that as people travel to various portions of the world where the climate was more conducive for maybe say a pale-skinned person to survive and reproduce, and a little less conducive for a dark-skinned population to reproduce, that the survivors or the ones who were able to produce the most would have been the pale-skinned people. And this is generally spoken of in terms of Northern Europe, Northern Asia, Russia. At the same time, we do see populations that have traditionally lived in those climates who are very dark-skinned. For some of the Eskimo or Inuit people, so that they are very dark-skinned, but with straight hair, and they seem to thrive pretty well. So that asks or begs another question. What happened that a recessive gene population could prosper unless they were completely cut off and there was no interference from a dark-skinned parentage? So that's a question that I have, especially at this point. If it's purely natural selection, then we would see more variation in some of these populations. It wouldn't take much to turn a European appearance into something like an Arab or African simply through mixing. And this is why you have a big problem with certain organizations that fear the extinction of the European and that European phenotype through interracial mixing. So you have groups like the Klan, the Nazi Party, etc., that prohibit their members from intermarrying and discourage, on the basis of extinction, the,
Alright, I guess last time when we talked to Brother Sharif, we mentioned some of the factor for causing the human race and human evolution. I remember he mentioned some of the factor like geographical location, the climate, and the exposure of the sun or lacking the vitamin D. So, do you think this will be some of the reason, or can you think of anything else?
well, that's the question. If it's strictly a matter of vitamin D, how do the other populations that are dark-skinned and live in extremely cold and poorly lit areas survive? Again, the Eskimo people are dark-skinned, generally speaking, and they seem to do quite well. They seem to supplement their diets through with vitamin D through fish, whale blubber, or whatever is available, and it seems to be sufficient for them to survive and reproduce. So that's the question. If it's strictly natural selection and strictly a matter of the climate, then why do some of these populations continue to exist? You would expect them to have died out naturally. I again have to question the theory of natural selection being the cause or the origin of these light complexion populations. As again, there's a fear, or actually prediction, that blue eyes and certain features of that order will become extinct within the next 100 years or so because of the intermarriage and dilution of the European phenotype and genetic code.
Alright, everyone, I guess as you just listened to what Brother Amir just explained, I guess this is a very interesting topic and just trigger in your mind. So if you have any question, if you have any comment, if you have anything that you want to share or any feedback, you can send us to our email. You can contact our number at 267-770-6360, or you can call our studio. I guess the number is 267-687, right?
687-8488. That's 267-687-8488. And hopefully there'll be a crawl with the email and other information to contact. What I'd like to do, I have some knowledge of these subjects, a general knowledge, but there are quite a few other individuals who I'd like to have contact us who can give much more information and have taken a specialized study in genetics and these various populations and why people look the way they do on this beautiful planet Earth.
Alright, so again, everyone, you can join us, get involved, participate, and be part of our discussion, interesting discussion. So this program brought to you by Philadelphia Roundtable. So our program will be ongoing program. So we have a different topic, different subject in each program. So again, I encourage you to call this number. So back to the discussion, Brother Michael. Speaking of, human race and color. Now, so we've been I also study a little bit, try to to get familiar with the subject, and I come to realize that our ancestor was a black color and dark skin. So as also is stated that the black the Hebrew Israelite was black color. So with that being said, so Jesus, some still argue whether or not Jesus really white, the one you depicted by some other white folks. And then some also black people, they claim with some proof and evidence showing that Jesus was a dark skin, black color. So so in this subject, very much related. So when Jesus said that we know that Jesus was sent to the Jewish people only, and this is why Jesus said, "I'm not sent but for the lost sheep house of Israel," which is in the book of Matthew chapter 15:24. Now in others passage, Jesus also said, Matthew chapter 6, Jesus said, Give not that which is holy to the dog, neither cast out your pearl before the swine, unless they will trample them under their feet and turn against you and render you. So my question will be, who are those people, who are those Gentiles that Jesus is referring to?
Well, primarily because of the area, the northern tip of Africa and the so-called Middle East were being invaded for the last several hundreds of years by the Greeks and then followed by the Romans. And Israel was at war with these groups. Its teaching and its Messiah was for Israel only, and then the rest of the world would be able to partake in what was to be given to Israel. And the problem is that because of the change of information or the control of information, we as a general population worldwide have been given a false image of who the prophets were historically. Generally speaking, they've been mythologized, and we are very familiar with the artwork done basically under the rule of the Catholic Church, which depicted Jesus and the prophets and all the Israelites as Europeans. And I would say that's been done purposely. It's been done to captivate the mind of all who are raised in these religions, that they should be in servitude towards those who are lighter skinned or have European features. At the same time, as you look at the oldest relics, which are icons, paintings, statues, and other images that depict mother and child, for instance, or John the Baptist, is that you see people who are brown skinned or darker with frizzy hair, basically Africanish type hair. As you look into the scripture itself, into the Old Testament, there's a genealogy that's included. And once you figure out who's being referred to, then you'll be able to figure out who would be dark skinned and who would be light skinned. The people in the Greek Isles and Italy and Sicily and so forth are not very far from northern Africa. So these invasions were the cause of the fall of Israel. And in response to that, the Messiah was not charged to come educate or teach anyone but the children of the nation of Israel, who are Israelites by blood and by genealogy. And as the story goes, he instructed his followers not to take that information to any other people but the lost sheep of the tribe of Israel. And this is where we leave off. And this is information that's been covered but never really emphasized, because the ultimate control of a person is to control his thinking, and by controlling the images in a person's mind, you can influence him in ways that they may not even realize.
All right, everyone. I guess this is quite interesting, and I know this is a very hard topic. So again, if you have Bible with you, so open up your Bible, get some fact, get some knowledge, get a better understanding, and get a right perspective. So when we're talking about the Gentile, are they specifically the the Caucasian or European? Or
It's not, as far as I understand, it's not stated specifically in the New Testament, but the Isles of the Gentiles are the Isles of the Greeks. And these are people who are descended, according to the Bible, from Javan. And that's the question is, were these people even closely or remotely related to Israelites? And as far as I've been able to tell, no. These were the people who were idol worshippers, as you could say. They had the Greek pantheon and the Roman pantheon. And also what they would do is, as they conquered a country or a nation or groups of people, they would adjust the religions of the people they conquered to fit into the scheme of their religion. And we see some of that with the apostles that came after Jesus left his mission. we find that these individuals were associated with various astronomical phenomena, and that a story that was pre-existent to the Israelite story or coexistent was grafted together to create a new religion. And the idea being that, well, if you're in Rome, then do what the Romans do, and now you can do it a little more easily, in that you'll be sharing some holidays and some concepts that may be completely alien to the founders of the religion, but will accommodate your existence within that Roman society. We see that here. We see that the influence and jealousy between groups of people will cause them also to do similar things. There's no record in my knowledge of any birthday for any prophet, Messiah, or any of those kinds of people. They did not celebrate any birthdays. However, through Western Church and other churches, we now have birthdays for Messiah Jesus and also for the Prophet Muhammad. And I do not believe that was anything that they celebrated during their lifetimes. So, again, more research and hard, cold facts are necessary to get things corrected.
All right, everyone. I guess whatever you are, whatever your the color of your skin, whatever is your race, ultimately we all come from the same origin, the same ancestor, and it's just a matter of try to seek knowledge, try to get a better understanding, try to get the right perspective. So, of course, in the end of the day, God Almighty, the Creator, didn't put any value on the color, but rather we will be judged by the contentment of our character and behavior.
We should be judged by who we are and how we do things, and not simply on appearances. And I think we can take that not only from race, but to religion and to many other areas. Not everyone who is in any particular religion is good. And when you talk about the Messiah Jesus, his disciples said, "Master, thou art a good man," and he denied it. He said, "What man is good?" So we need to all be a little more humble concerning that. At the same time, we need to recognize what has been done and work to undo the negative things that have been done to other peoples, whether they're dark-skinned or whatever complexion or nation. Once equality comes, then a lot of that problem should subside. But we must have equality, and we must have justice, and then you'll have peace.
This subject is very hard subject, so very intriguing. When it's come to race and different color, some people still taking, some people still taking this subject of color, being something personal, something that touchy, that's why we have so much segregation in our community based on the color. And even the issue of color and race still driven by certain people to pursue their political agenda. So again, I guess there is so much to talk about when it's come to the issue of race and color. I know, like I said, it is a hard subject, and I guess you have something in your mind that you want to ask, that you want to get involved or ask Brother Amir. So again, our program brought to you by Philadelphia Roundtable. This is a discussion from various different topic and different subject. So this will be ongoing program. So again, don't forget to subscribe our website at www.philaroundtable.webs.com, or you can visit my website at www.ifs/cda.webs.com. So again, is there anything you want to add before we close up?
Only that we could use your assistance, those who have put the time and work into study, and we'd like your input and like to get these questions answered a little more thoroughly. As I've said, I have a general knowledge of some of these subjects, but I do know that there are people out there who are put a lot of time in, and we'd like to take advantage of your knowledge and expertise in freeing the minds of the people here in Philadelphia and around the world, hopefully too.
Alright, everyone. So that's all our program for right now. So again, Brother Amir, thank you for your time. Thank you for your effort. Thank you for your thought and perspective. Thank you for sharing your knowledge to everyone, to the audience. Hope everything that you share will, bring some benefit, give the, insightful thought and perspective. So again, thank you everyone for watching, either listening from Blog Talk Radio or from a YouTube video channel or from public television. So again, subscribe to our channel, call the number or send us our email. So again, thank you for watching and see you till next time. Peace.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكور وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم إن الله عليم خبير. O mankind, we created you from a single soul, male and female, and made you into nations and tribes, so that you may come to know one another. Truly, the most honor of you in God's sight is the greatest of you in piety. God is all-knowing and all-aware. Quran chapter 49 verse 13.